Hey, pretty faces, it's KlaireeBerry here. I have not done a Q&A for a while, and kind of randomly all of a sudden the other day I had two people start asking me questions on YouTube and Facebook, so I decided I would go ahead and do a Q&A. I think I got all of them located. If I didn't, just ask me again and I'll put you in the next one. So I answered most of them in person, but I'll go ahead and answer them here as well. One of them asked for a pet video. So if you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments section below. But he also asked, where did I find Rocky? I actually found both of the dogs that I have got through petfinder.com, and both of them were through shelters. One was from Wayside Waves, and the other was Man's Best Friend. It was just a volunteer organization that kind of worked with the temporary shelter. So they were both adopted and best dogs ever. I love them both so much. My last dog died of cancer, unfortunately. Rocky's breed was another question, and he is actually a hound mixed with boxer is what they told us. People always try to say, oh, he's pit and he's got lab in him, but if you actually look up the red hound mix with a boxer, so I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he is. And he's either 3 or 4 years old, I believe, at this time. So the anniversary is when we got him. We just kind of say that was his birthday around like 2 weeks before Christmas or so. A question, where do you get your B12? I was buying the Vega B12 tablets through Amazon, and now I get the Jarrow kind now, because they have the subscribe and save. So hopefully it's as tasty as the Vega. The Vega brand was very delicious and we really liked it. But I just take the little methyl whatever capsules that dissolve in your mouth. And I am gonna get a blood test later on this year. So hopefully that's working. Try to remember to take them regularly. Had a question from Roberts Roy on Facebook. What do you do? Profession? I was a child care provider, but I have stopped doing that for a couple different reasons, and I'm basically in between professions. I did some odd jobs. For now, I'm just going to school full-time. Got a grant to do that. Had a message from Javosky Griffith. What's the best way to reach me? Facebook Messenger is not usually a good way to reach me. So yeah, I guess Facebook or Instagram possibly. I usually check up on all of those as well. I don't really want to be giving out my private email. I do check my YouTube comments though too, so pretty much all of the above. Somebody asked, Ronnie Ron asked, why I have 2 accounts on Facebook. My personal account is just a little bit more personal. It's got all my old pictures, a lot of family stuff on there, and then my KlaireeBerry account is the one I'd like to use more for the vegan friends. Although I do still post a lot of vegan, things on my regular page. Most of everything vegan is just under KlaireeBerry. And I do have both an actual page, a personal account for KlaireeBerry, and a public figure page or whatever. I don't use the public figure page as much because it doesn't seem to get through to people quite as much. Am I married? No, not married. I got out of a relationship last year. It kind of lingered around a little bit. I was getting sucked into doing that whole thing, trying to be friends with the ex and all of that. And I just recently completely cut that off as well. Not working for me. It's not positive for my life and my goals. So not married. Do I have kids? Yes, I do have kids. I have 2 kids. Most of you guys know that. 2 kids and 2 fur babies. The next question again, am I dating a vegan? No, I'm not dating a vegan. I've actually never dated a vegan, and I'm not dating anybody right now, and I'm not wanting to. I tend to look around a lot of the vegans on these Facebook groups. They're spending so much of their time talking about a mate, thinking about a mate, being depressed because they don't have a mate. And you could be spending your time on so much more positive things that'll bring more positivity to your life than probably a mate will. A lot of times, like Tanny Bro was talking about just the other day, if you have the patterns in your lifestyle, you're going to attract the same type of person. So you really need to get far away from whoever you were that was attracting those other people. And I think that was my problem. Have a question, is honey vegan or not, from Isabel. And of course, that is a big no. Honey is not vegan. There's bee-free honey. There's also agave, maple syrup. There's sugar. You can reduce, put water in it and heat it up and it'll make a simple syrup. Lots of ways to get around vegan honey. It's bee vomit, and the bees need all of their nutrients. They don't need some GMO corn syrup to replace their own honey, especially when we're getting low on bees and we really need the bees that we do have left, since there's so many glyphosate and pesticides out there that are hurting them. How can I make vegan friends? This is something that honestly I don't know that I'm qualified to speak on, because I know very few vegans in real life. I just went to my first vegan meetup 2 years in. So my advice would be just don't be like me and avoid, well, it's not that I was avoiding the vegan groups, but make time, I guess, would be to go to find out, search out, or create vegan groups in your area. Here in Kansas City, there are vegan groups. They're not necessarily high carb vegan groups, and they're not necessarily that close to me, but better than nothing. Making friends online is obviously huge. Look up Vegan Friend Me and different vegan groups, find people who have similar interests, and you can make a lot of friends that way if that's what you want to do. But again, to me, I know that, the studies say friends are really important for good health, and people feel lonely, and honestly, my animals and my family gives me more, I'm lucky that I have a good family to rely on. But I kind of think friends are kind of overrated, especially when you're in an area like me where your friends are mostly carnivores and omnivores who, just I don't have anything in common with them. It's not productive or fulfilling to me to really hang out with these people, especially when they're mostly drinking and doing things like that. So I would say definitely, go to different groups. If you don't have a vegan group, find a fitness group, things like that. You may be more likely to even turn some people vegan that way, but just find your interests. If you're interested in cooking, go to a cooking class, or, hang out at the library or arcades. But like I said, I don't really worry about friends. I want to keep myself productive, and I feel like when I'm, fulfilling my life with things that matter, that I'll make more friends through those avenues, if that makes sense. Okay, Paul Earthling asked me, just wondering, do you have certain books that inspire you? I'm going to continue on with this sort of series that I started a while ago that is called Best Books. I was just going to share my favorite books on YouTube. And I will continue to do that. And the one that I did, I think, was Heal Your Life. I don't really read books over and over again, and I don't read a lot of nonfiction. So this is one book that I've kept around and kind of used as a reference. It's something that talks a lot about inner workings of your life and the mental and positive thinking, but it also has this section at the back that talks about different illnesses and problems that you may have in your life and how they're caused by feelings and thoughts, and it also gives you different mantras and new thoughts to think instead. So I really love Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle is another one that I've read a couple of times. Quantum Success, not sure who the author is off the top of my head, really good book. Of course, all the vegan books. 80-10-10 is a classic. I'm reading Whole right now, The China Study, all of the Reverse and Heal Heart Disease, Reverse and Heal Diabetes, and also the other one that comes up off the top of my head is The Care and Feeding of Indigo Children. This was a book that in my early 20s, after I started to kind of hear about a lot of non-mainstream conspiracy theories type of stuff that I found to be true, it was kind of depressing, and I had a lot of trouble relating to people at that time in my life. This book really gave me a hope for humanity through the children, and I think it's a really amazing book. So that answers that question. Had a question from Ralph Sanchez. How are you able to eat mostly raw? And I think I might kind of delve into this in some more videos in the future. But he says, I can't just eat greens unless it's wrapped in bread, wraps, rice, etc. I don't get satisfaction from just eating a big bowl of greens or other foods for that matter. What can people do to incorporate more raw foods? And how's Ricky? And I'm pretty sure he means Rocky. So first of all, Rocky's doing great. He's better than ever. He is on regular food. I really need to start making some more money so I can afford some vegan food again, because I think he does a little bit better on that. Doing a lot of grass eating and throwing it up. Not like a ton, but it seems like a little bit more than usual. I don't know if it's because it's winter or if it's because he doesn't like his food. I'm trying to feed him some, fresh foods and stuff now and again. I could probably get better about that too, but overall he's doing really well. No issues, no complaints. His fitness level has gone up this year since we've been so consistent about doing our 3 miles a day. Even through the winter and summer we do more. He used to slow down towards the end of the skate when I skate him, because I get on my roller skates and he just runs. And he used to slow down towards the end of it's actually only 1.5 miles that we do on average twice a day. So at the end of the skate, he used to get a little bit winded and have to slow down, and now he doesn't really do that at all. So he's getting more fit just as well as I am. So back to the raw question. Obviously, I did have some trouble with that over the winter, and I told him so in my reply over the holiday season. And that was because of lack of planning and just kind of a mental stigma where, I have to have these certain foods on Christmas to make it Christmassy. I really think that's going to change in the future in at least one way, shape, or form. But again, he says he can't eat greens unless it's wrapped in bread, rice, etc. And part of my answer was that that's a great start. Eating more and more greens, even if you're consuming those foods on the side, I think is a really great idea. And that's kind of the strategy that I took. I didn't say, okay, I'm going to go raw all of a sudden. I kind of eased into it. And again, I'm not putting any pressure on myself to eat fully raw. I think that helps as well. But obviously preparation is a huge issue. And by preparation, I don't just mean going to the store and making sure you have the right things or making sure you have the right list to get the right things, although that is very important. But the other part of it is knowing what recipes you can do, knowing what you like, for me, my big thing is, okay, it's easy to stay mostly raw all day doing smoothies and fruit. That part's really no problem, but the savory side was my biggest issue. And it really took me going in and seeing a lot of Tanny Raw's videos, and I really took notes, and I was writing down, sweet, savory, fat, all these different components of a good raw dressing. And that has really, really helped me. So let's see, kind of what my other answer was: acquired taste. Where there's a will, there's a way. So keep looking for new ways to eat healthy foods. If you don't like kale, go for lettuce. If you don't like romaine, try spinach, and vice versa. That goes for getting bored with things too. If you get bored, go to something else. But that being said, he says, I don't get satisfaction from eating a big bowl of greens or other raw foods. And, a lot of that is because if it's vegetables anyway, you're not supposed to. And I make sure when I'm starting to eat a big meal, this has actually been a problem for me in the past couple days. In my first week of getting back to routinely raw, is I'll get too hungry and I'll start snacking on beans or rice while I'm cooking because I need some food. Or even like the other day, I had a big bowl of raw cucumbers and a salad and everything else. And I think the good dressings with a little bit of sweet helps, like putting some dates in your dressing, putting some mangoes in your dressing helps. But I found afterwards I was still just too undercarbed and didn't have enough more raw food to fulfill me. So the first thing, like I said, is get your dressing and make sure it has some raw fruits in there that actually have carbs that will actually keep you filled up, and then just eating enough. I found before when I tried this, I tried to do like peas and corn on top of a big raw salad, and I felt like I got food stagnation from that. So I would say I feel like the cucumbers are helping me in that way, because I can eat literally huge bowls of cucumbers. I do get full eventually, but I don't feel like I did when I was overeating on the lettuce. With lettuce, you want to chop it up really well so that you're not going to get like food stagnation, and making sure you eat fruit. Like if you're not eating fruit in your salad dressing, eat fruit right before, for an appetizer. Greens are good with everything. And you're not going to have any adverse reactions from eating a bunch of fruit and then going on to your salad. But I think it's a mistake to just try to eat a big salad all by itself if it doesn't fill you up and you don't have a backup plan. I mean, if you have a bunch of, cucumbers and salad and you eat it and you know that you're going to be hungry in 2 hours, like I've been taking a second meal. If we have a 2-hour practice, I take a second meal with me and I eat another raw meal. And that sustains me. So, you know, you could go either way. You could eat fruit before, you could eat fruit during, you could eat fruit on top, like I said, or you could just eat more later. You should be able to get to a point where you can get somewhat fulfilled, at least for a couple hours, off of a variety of fruits and vegetables. You know, if you can't, then that might be something to just look into. Maybe you should, you know, not necessarily fast a little bit, but take some of those foods that you're eating out of your system. Like if you're eating rice all the time and rice is the only thing that's filling you up, then you may want to kind of think about that and look into that. So, because I used to think the same thing, and I think, like I said, these changes that I've been making have helped. And I don't ever sit down to just a salad of greens, a big bowl of greens anymore. I'm doing cucumber noodles, add in some carrot noodles, add in some, you know, tomatoes and sweet sun-dried tomatoes and like I said, dates and fruit into the dressing. And I find that kind of combining the different foods helps me more than whether I was just trying to eat a salad with lime juice or something on the top. So I think I pretty much got everything I want to say. And like I said, I still use raw tofu as a backup plan. It's not like I'm forsaking raw tofu. Raw tofu has done me very well, and I'm not turning my back on it. And I will eat some rice, and I do have little bites of rice here and there. And also, you know, adding the fats to the salad dressing, I think, is another thing that, you know, that you need to add in there. I was trying to just go so low fat. I have not noticed a problem with adding a little bit of tahini or a little bit of avocado to my dressings, as long as I keep them low. You know what I mean? So yeah, still mastering that trick. And, you know, like I said, if you're eating salad with hummus or salad with bread or salad with, you know, rice, you're still getting your salad in, and it's still really good. And, you know, you can also just do, you know, green smoothies. You don't necessarily have to have a salad to stay raw, you know. But like I said, the savory is where I usually got in trouble. So also having the little raw crackers on the side is really great. And I'm surprised with how well I like them. Some of them may be acquired taste, but raw crackers, I'm being able to find them a lot of different places. Although, ooh, those ones on Amazon, they're like $10, are so freaking good. So yeah, let me know if you have any more questions about that. I think I got it, and actually that was the last one. So let me know if you have any more questions that you would like me to answer. Thanks to all of you who did ask me questions, and I hope you're having a great day. Don't forget to eat your fruit, and I'll talk to you later.